And we're going to put a marker right here for our awesome archive team, letting them know we're getting into the game. We're going to tab over to this screen and welcome everyone to a very, very quick production. The overlay, as you can see, is not in yet. Our characters are barely together, and this image that you're looking at is a placeholder. Expect it to change slightly over the course of these episodes. This is session 0 of our newest Dice-Icive action production called Hell to Pay, a 5-point Fox mutation, if you will, of the module Descent into Avernus. As some of you may know, during the live recording of this episode and subsequent episodes, I am in a Descent into Avernus game on a different day over on Journeyman Invader's channel, and I'm having a lot of fun, but it makes me want to put my own spin on it. And so that's what this is. This is Hell to Pay. Now, this episode, this Session 0, as with all Session 0s, are just introductory. This is a chance for you guys to get on the ground floor, basically. Find out how I do things, how I GM, how I narrate, what makes 5-Point Fox different from core raw rules. Meet the players, meet the characters that they're going to be playing, and get a general feel for what this story is going to be. It can be a slog to sit through a long... One second, Nightfall, you're not muted. It can be a slog to sit through a long, playlist of stuff, and it can be daunting when you're sitting down at episode 1 and you don't really know what's coming. So here again is a chance to get in on the ground floor and perhaps meet some of your favorite players and characters and see what story shakes out. If you are familiar with how I do things around here, it's going to be much the same, and we'll get into that in a little bit. If you're familiar with Descent into Avernus, boy, are you going to be disappointed, because I change almost everything from the ground up when I do these module playthroughs, because I'm not telling Descent into Avernus. I'm telling Hell to Pay, and I'm all about story. And so, as I did with Voices of the Mountain, as I did with arguably A Little Adventure, it's going to be a little bit before we jump into the module itself. Quite a few episodes. But tonight, we've got most of our players. We're short one due to a scheduling conflict. We're going to introduce them, talk about their players, talk about the world, talk about everything that we have coming down the pipe for you guys. Minus the art and the overlays, which we should have by next episode, but we want to get the Session 0 out for you guys and, kind of promote not only this, but Hell to Pay is brought to you exclusively by Patreon. We launched our Patreon during, the day before the live recording of this episode, and, Hell to Pay is going to be exclusively on Patreon for a while. If you're watching this in the future on YouTube, new episodes of this show, and there will always be exclusive DA shows on the Patreon, and then a lot later we'll put them up on the YouTube for you guys, so that anybody can watch. But if you're watching this on Patreon, thank you for your support. Going through a bit of a hard time at the moment, but this Patreon is not going to go away, or as I know anyway, when I get back to streaming. If I'm able to get back to streaming, hopefully I will. But yeah, the Patreon's going to stay, and one of the rewards that we offer is this show. So, let's take a look at our players, take a look at our characters, and then we'll talk about what this show is and how it's going to be different from other DA shows, as well as from Descent into Avernus at base. So, join me in welcoming our players to the stage. Some you are familiar with, and some are brand new to our DA sphere. So let's do it, shall we? A man who needs no introduction, who can always be found at my table, who is always ready to take a hit with a big shield, Guy Gamzelis, the Bard of Heroes. Welcome to the show.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, Gamzee. Just in case somebody is watching this for the first time, they have no idea about Decisive Action, they have no idea about you, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am Guy Gamzelis, the Bard of Heroes. I tell the tales that need to be told, the tales of the everyday heroes. No, I try to. I'm usually just bopping around on the Discord, sharing my thoughts and having a good time, as most of us are wont to do within the shrine.
And who are you going to be playing for this story?
night, for the show,
Mhm.
I'm going to be playing Commander Duncan Reeves,
Go on.
uh, a tiefling fighter paladin and a commander within the group known as the Hell Riders.
And now, see, it's very interesting that you led with a rank. You're going to be seeing a lot of that tonight, and we'll explain that in a little bit. You mind if we circle back to you?
Not a problem.
Extinct Bacon, welcome to the show.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. You know him, you love him. Runyak Oragson of the Clan of the Elk. I almost said of Clan Eld. Sorry about that. As well as Guiding Wind of the Bounty of the Deeps. Straight from the Frozen North, straight from Voices of the Mountain. Good to have you in, Cook.
Good to be here.
Why don't you take a moment and let people know who you are?
So I am the Extinct Bacon, or Cookie, whichever you prefer to call me. I just kind of vibe around the shrine and Twitch whenever possible. Otherwise, I'm kind of here.
And who are you playing for this adventure?
For this adventure, I will be playing Sergeant Tordek Goldfury.
That's a dwarf name if ever I've heard one.
He is, in fact, a dwarf, and also at that, a war domain cleric.
Oh no. Okay. And I also noticed Sergeant was in there.
Aye, sir.
Interesting. Again, there's a theme here, and we'll get to that in a moment. Keeping up with our DA veterans, Nightfall the Kitsune, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hello. Why don't you take a moment and tell people who you are?
Hello, I am Nightfall the Kitsune. I am Kit's left-hand man, right-hand man. I do admin
How
stuff and
about
things
footstool?
around the
Let's go with footstool.
Yeah, about that. I am their second, if nothing else. I help keep things running smoothly, even though I may cause half of the problems.
It's okay, I cause the other half, it's fine.
I help make sure the bard doesn't lose their goddamn mind.
Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
And who are you playing for this adventure?
Let's see. Let's go through the list of characters I've played so far. I've played Pierce,
Yep.
who has been used the what's the adjective used? Twink.
Yep.
I went even smaller with my next character, a halfling raised by Goliaths.
I'm sensing a theme all of a sudden.
Yeah. Would you like to know what I'm playing for this one?
A pixie.
No, not that small. That might be the next one. No, I am playing a 1 foot 2 inches tall Kenku named Incoherent Drill Noises.
Okay. First of all, Rev is the size of a pixie, just so you know.
Okay. First of all, he is what was his rank? Corporal? Corporal Rev. He refers to himself as Drill Noises.
Yes. For the record, he doesn't refer to himself as drill noises. He refers to himself as wow.
Yeah, pretty much. But he is like my other character, small in stature only.
Yes.
He is a battlesmith artificer.
Oh, you get a steel defender.
I get more than a steel defender.
Oh.
He pilots it like a mech.
Oh. Oh.
Oh, indeed.
Big O in this case. So what I'm hearing is okay. So when you say he pilots it like a mech, are we talking like this hand of mine burns with an awesome power, or are we talking like, saddle up mech warriors? There's work to do.
Yeah, I think the latter one. I think.
Oh, okay, all right.
Like he in it.
So that would put him firmly in the engineer column.
Yes.
Okay.
He is. He is very keen to make a solution when there isn't one.
And I hear it now. Kenku are small, yeah, and Goliaths are medium, and other lies you tell yourselves. Like, Kenku are small because it's too hard to balance tiny races. And to that I say, once again, I'm one-upping you, Mr. Crawford.
Balance is a lie spread by Crawford.
You're right. Is it possible to learn this power? Not from a Gygaxian, it's not.
No, it's not. You won't find many of those around these parts. So if that's what you're looking for, you're in the wrong place.
I regularly are like, would you like to play a large party member with powerful build? And people are like, why in the hell did you do that? And I said, because it's fun, that's why. And in this case, we're going in the other direction and we're making the cat that can talk.
Yeah, well, kinda.
You're the size of a cat.
I am, but also, like, I can kinda talk.
Yeah, that's true. You're a Kenku.
I am a Kenku.
That being said, I've played a Kenku before. I played a Kenku. This is not in any way related to the stream, but I played a Kenku in Cookie's game, actually. And by session 3, I could basically talk.
Yeah, I plan to take a shit ton of notes.
That's a good plan.
See, by session 3 he could talk. By session 4 he was the face of the party.
Like, it's not actually exaggerating.
Yeah.
Because I wrote down everything.
I don't know if I'm gonna be as thorough as Kid is, because Kid is fucking thorough.
The word you're looking for is neurotic, my friend.
I mean, I was trying to be polite. If that helps my case at all.
I mean, we both know I'm neurotic. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm the one who cleared out a 50-foot cube, or 50-block cube in Minecraft by myself over the course of 6 hours, 3 days ago.
Speaking of which, I made a haste ring for you.
A what?
Unrelated to this, but in that I made a haste ring after you finished.
Oh, thank you. I'll get it later.
Yeah.
So we'll circle back to you. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome back to the DA stage. It's been a minute, all the way from Paradiso, Gentleman Jogath. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
We haven't seen you.
Excuse me for a minute. I think I heard something fall in the other room.
Yeah, no worries. We haven't seen you since your days with Thibra Gesheth, which I can still remember how to say. I wasn't sure if I could.
It has been a hot minute.
It has been a hot minute. Why don't you introduce yourself?
I am Gentleman Jogath, or the Frostwind, and I decided to kind of
that's
reimagine.
Right. You changed your name to the Frostwind, and I introduced you as Gentleman Jogath. I'm so sorry, friend.
It is all okay. I'm okay with both, so
okay,
it's all good. But I am reintroducing an old character I made way back in the day when Waterdeep Dragon Heist first came out. And I am playing Master Sergeant Calendria Willowsoul, a stone sorcery Azmar.
Ooh. I've been meaning to ask you, do you have the Halo thing?
No.
I thought... Okay, so then correct me if I'm wrong.
I can have it.
Okay.
Usually, Azmar will have incredibly striking features that you could tell they're an Azmar because they look really.
One of the features of an Azmar was like a halo that cast light and you could turn it on and off. Or am I thinking of Pathfinder?
Pathfinder.
Ah, that's the issue. Okay. Well,
her eyes are solid.
The obvious response is, do you want a Halo?
Yeah, that was actually going to be my next question. Would you like a Halo you can turn on and off to cast light?
Well, no, because instead I have another cool thing when she uses her stone sorcery ability to like harden her skin like rock. It looks like when you've repaired a vase with the little gold inlane, so it streaks of gold on the.
Oh, there's a word for that. there's a specific word for that type of repairing, and I can't think of it. My head immediately went to kaiseki, and that is not it at all. It's
Kintsugi.
Well, I was closer than I thought I was. Okay. Nice. Stone Sorcerer, are you going, I don't know a lot about Stone Sorcerers. I looked at the class briefly, but, what makes them different from, like, say, Wild Magic Sorcerers?
When you start out, you're built a lot more for tanky and melee stuff because you get like weapon proficiencies, and when you harden your skin, you get basically like a unarmored defense thing where it's
nice.
AC 13 plus your con.
Ooh, plus your dex.
And later on, I think like level 6, what you start getting are these abilities where you can use like Earth to shield yourself or allies or give them buffs.
So you're Toph Beifong.
Mm-hmm.
I'm into it. Okay. And not last nor least, but as I said, we're a man down tonight. Joining us on the DA stage for the first time ever, Sir Squeaky. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hello. Why don't you take a minute to introduce yourself? I mean, you get the feel for being on stage.
Well, my name is Sir Squeaky. I've been on the stage briefly a couple of times with
Odeon.
Odeons. Yes, thank you. I'm in the Discord a lot and on stream when I can be. And I share a lot of news and information in the shrine. For this campaign, I will be playing Lieutenant Denki Velenthir.
And who or what is Denki Velenthir?
Denki Velenthir is a in the squad. There are analyst and support. They're a rogue bard hybrid class.
Ooh, nice. Multi-class, not hybrid class.
Multi-class.
Yeah,
I misspoke.
Not the same thing, and a very important distinction, in fact.
Yes,
very,
indeed.
very cool, very cool. And then our last hero who cannot be here tonight due to scheduling conflict is Night Mist Okami, playing Bathed in Starlight, the Tabaxi Ranger Rogue multi-class, who is the scout and infiltrator of the group. Excuse me. And I believe Starlight is a Lance Corporal. So as you can see, everybody here has a rank, and the reason everybody here is a rank is because this is a squad of the cavalry cavalry military organization called the Hell Riders, based out of the city of Elturel, along the Sword Coast of Faerun. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce you to collectively the Valkyrie Squad, and the Valkyries are going to be dealing with the events around what happened to Elturel, as well as my own flair on a lot of things throughout Hell to Pay. And it's great to have you guys at my table. So before we go through and talk about character aspirations and world settings and have a Q&A session just between us if necessary, I want to take a minute and talk about exactly how I do tabletop stuff. So the reason
I think the answer is well.
thank you. The reason that this is Decisive Action Hell to Pay and not Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus is a couple of reasons. One, branding. No offense to Wizards of the Coast, they have fantastic products, but I'm making money off of this, and I want it to be my own thing. So, with the nod of Wizards of the Coast for using their materials, and the nod of Roll20 for allowing me to do this, and the nod of Patreon and support from viewers like you, we have the whole Decisive Action franchise with our various shows and stories within it. I call it D&D 5 Point Fox because I have a lot of issues with a lot of things in D&D 5th edition, and a lot of that is because it's too simple, and some of the rules are inconsistent. And I just started doing house rules here and there, but over time it got so expansive that I just had to start calling it D&D 5.5. Like, I draw in a lot of stuff from 3.5, and 4th edition D&D, Pathfinder, other games entirely for my house rules, as well as I will just arbitrate rules that I don't agree with. Cough, cough, monks can smite. Cough, cough. And other such things. And make it like my own thing. So you will see you will see a lot of familiar things if you're familiar with D&D in general, and you'll see a lot of things in the module that you recognize, but at the same time, if we do something clearly different than what the book says, and let me pause here to say, I will get shit wrong. Don't misunderstand. I will get shit wrong. But if I do something not what you're used to and nobody reacts to it, it's probably a house rule. I am happy to explain my house rules. We have a whole thing on our Discord, if you'd like to join us, about our house rules. It's constantly being updated, called our brewer cellar, homebrew cellar, and as well...
That is updated and maintained by yours truly.
Yep. And if you have any questions other than that, you can ask me on Discord, Twitter. I don't know if Patreon has a comment system, but if it does, you can ask a question there, and I'll be happy to answer it. That being said, if you need to correct me on something and you're not a jackass about it, that's fine. Feel free. Just understand that, you know, at the end of the day, I reserve the right to do things as I will because I'm the game master and this is my story. But oftentimes somebody will be like, hey, by the way, you missed an attack with a bugbear there, and I'll be like, oh shit, I didn't see it, thanks. So, you know, I'm not perfect and I don't claim to be perfect, but that's kind of how I do things. And we'll talk about that more as the game goes. One of the things that I like to do is introduce mechanics slowly. So, like, session 1, we'll have like very base D&D rules, but by session 20 we might have like a crafting system or several. We might have our own way of doing combat turns or initiative, or who knows what house rules we'll put in. But I like to expand on a lot of the rules, a lot of the systems, a lot of the mechanics, so that my players can do whatever they want to focus on. If like in one of our long-standing shows, Dice-Icive Action, Tales of the Nightlight, we have a character who is straight up a cleric of creation, a cleric of Gond, G-O-N-D, who is a god of invention. And so he was like, hey, how does crafting work in D&D? And I was like, well, rules is written, you expend money and time and you get a thing. That's kind of boring. Let's make a crafting system. So we did. And now he can just, like, invent shit. And he has a lot of fun doing that. And, like, that's what I would rather do. I'm here to tell a story. I'm not here to get the rules right. I'm not here to get the module exactly right. I don't care. At the end of the day, if the story is good, or at the very least it's the story I want to tell, then rules be damned, frankly. Does that mean that I'm going to let my players do whatever they want? Probably more than most GMs, but no. I'm not going to let them do whatever they want. There will be structure, but at the same time, I'm not going to be like, I don't care if you're raised by Goliath, you're a halfling, so you speak halfling. Like, no, you speak giant, Keelio. It's fine. Like, do the thing. Like, that's just how I am. Another thing to keep in mind is I'm what I like to refer to as a cinematic DM, and by that I mean, like, when describing a scene or an action or a character, I'll talk about set designs, I'll talk about camera angles, lighting, I might mention an actor or a voice actor or actress or other such things that would fit the role that I'm trying to play. And you know, I'll be sitting here doing voices as best that I can, but I've noticed that it really helps if I'm like, hey, like, this person that I'm about to describe and show you this art handout of, like, imagine they're played by, like, pulling out a random name here, Hugh Jackman. And then my players are like, oh, okay, I hear the Hugh Jackman, like, manner of speaking in your voice now, and it helps me, like, understand the character better. Like, I try to do that. I try to talk about, like, you know, especially because this is theater of the mind, so a lot of this is based on my descriptions. I try to talk about like way scenes are structured, and that matters much more to me than specific mechanics. Now, there is one exception to this rule, and that exception is as follows. If somebody's death is on the line, rules lawyer the hell out of me. If I'm about to kill somebody and I'm forgetting this rule, not ignoring, and usually I will explain, hey, I'm not applying this. But if I'm mistaken about something and somebody goes down or dies that shouldn't, 100% of the time, smack me upside the head.
That happened in Waterdeep Dragon Heist game towards one of the final battles of the
Motherfucker,
module.
it happened yesterday.
It did, but
it happened yesterday.
I'm using a specific example that's earlier on in the series.
Okay.
There was a cloud kill spell cast on the party in the Vault of Dragons.
Yes.
And
you say early on in the campaign, that was 40 episodes in.
I was just thinking that.
That was 40 episodes in.
We're 80 episodes in now.
That reminds me, just in case anybody is curious, Waterdeep, to give you a feel of how I do DA and how I tell stories in long form, Waterdeep Dragon Heist averages at 4 to 5 sessions to get through the module. It took us 43?
Yeah, it was long. And then, like, the 3 episodes were, like, what, aftermath?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was quite long. But it's a good reference for a lot of stuff.
Yeah. You were saying, though.
Yeah, there was a cloud kill spell cast on the party. I got hit by somebody else. I took a failed death save from the cloud kill. And then on my next turn, the cloud kill was going to hit me again. We sat and we looked over absolutely everything until someone found that the cloud kill has to move 10 feet.
Yep.
Which saved the wizard.
Yeah. And you'll get, like, pauses in the action to talk about, like, really specific mechanics and, like, go into, like, discussions of the math and the forces involved in, like, XYZ scenario to see if it's possible. And I am on the record of saying that's my favorite part of D&D. If my players need to take a half hour out of the story to figure out whether or not, given the information we have about a boat, whether the mech will be able to get on the boat, I'm going to permit that. I'm going to take part in that discussion. It's going to be boring if you don't like that type of thing, but that's the type of storyteller that I am. Because I like having that concrete evidence. Because I'm forgetful, to be blunt. And being able to say, no, we had that big long conversation about the distribution of the mech's weight and how it can stand on a ship and it's fine. That's easier for me to be like, okay, fine, I'll take your word for it, over, no, it's fine. Like, that's not enough for me. So you'll get that on occasion. It's not going to happen every session, unless you're Nightfall, but every so often we'll just have a deep mechanics discussion with a lot of numbers involved, and we'll probably get those numbers wrong, but we'll come to a consensus. That's the important part, and from there we'll be able to continue the story. That's, again, the type of DM that I am. Beyond that, we have some safety tools. My players, at any time, we do veils and cards around here. So at any time, a player can cast a veil over the current scene. The effects of the scene persist, but they are the scene itself is not shown on screen. So the players cannot use a veil to not get attacked by a spider, but they can do it to not have to think about being attacked by a spider, and that's easier than some people. And then for some people, and then in extreme cases, we have some safety tools down at the bottom. Now, I introduced these, if you're familiar with DA, in our Act 2 of Crown of Fangs, called Through the Looking Glass, where we switched from Tomb of Annihilation to Wilds Beyond the Witchlight. And these are really interesting cards. I'll put them up on the screen right now for you guys. We've got the X card, the rewind card, the pause card, the fast forward card, the refresh card, the skip card, and the play card. And what these do is these allow my players who may not have enough courage, for want of a better word, and I don't mean to say any of my players are bad, but it can be hard to be like, can you not? Especially if you're uncomfortable. These are anonymous. Anyone can pull out a card, and I don't know who did it. Could somebody pull out a random card, please, just to show as an example?
Sure.
Like, nobody say who it is, Nightfall. Like, just one of you, like, pull it. Yeah, right there. Bam. Like, somebody pulled out a card, and what they're saying is just like, hey, hurry up. Get through this. It's taking too much time, or I don't like it, or something like that. Got the rewind card, which is, hey, hang on, run that back. I didn't get that. Can you go through that again? I've got the X card, like, hey, stop. No, I'm not cool. The X card is a big one. That, like, stops the current scene. Everybody is pulled out of the story, and we have to, like, have a conversation out of character. And that means somebody crossed a line somewhere. And it's not something that I wanna like put my players through, if I can help it. And it's my job, it's my responsibility to make sure that you guys use as few of these cards as possible. But they exist so that you can.
I do have a question about them.
Of course.
You mean, like, I'm gonna use that example you had. You can't prevent a giant spider attack, but you can use it to not have to think about a giant spider?
With the X card, you can. With the X card, you can prevent a giant spider attack. If you thought on the X card, I have to call a stop. I have to be like, okay, hang on, everybody freeze, back up. Okay, so, like, you're in the cave, giant spiders attacking, there's webs everywhere, X card, okay, back up. What was the issue? The darkness, the cave, the spider, like, what happened? And whoever played the X card, or somebody else could be like, it was the spider was the problem. It's like, okay, let me back that up. Are you cool with giant ants? No, I don't like bugs at all. Okay. Are you cool
Owlbears.
with owl? Exactly. As long as it's not story relevant. And by story relevant, I mean, like, if you're playing a game called Lair of 100 Spiders, and
there's going to be spiders,
my
and you
players,
sign up for it.
Yeah, my players are fully aware of, like, the content when they sign up. So, like, that's one thing. But, like, this is another. And like, something like that, that's on me, and it's up to me to, like, work with my players to get through it. But again, my responsibility is to make that not come up at all.
Absolutely.
So what you don't see is a lot of behind-the-scenes discussion with my players about these things, but the tools are here to keep me safe, keep you guys safe, and keep the story moving. But if anybody else has any questions, feel free to field them. The only card that I'm not super clear on, I didn't make these, by the way, it's just, it's a visual representation of a system I already used, but there's one in here that I hadn't seen before, which is the instant replay. I have no idea why anyone would want that. Because the rewind tool already, like, hey, run that by me again, what was that? Like, but the instant replay is like, you want me to describe it from a different angle, how you killed that orc? Like, I don't know the function of that card.
That one seems kind of... I mean, I guess, like, if somebody wants to use it, they can attribute a meaning to it.
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't know what it would mean in general.
I mean, I guess it'll just have to come up when it comes up, I suppose.
That's fair. Anybody
Like,
else got a
it's
question?
better-
Oh, also, I live near train tracks, so you're going to hear Sharp Chew in the background randomly. And, you know, most of the time I'll try to mute it off, but if I'm in the middle of a monologue, I'm just going to let it go. It's usually not too bad. But you were saying, Nightfall? And I saw Squeaky buzz in, so let's see what you guys have to say.
I just, like, again, as you said, it's better to use them as little as possible, but I do want to stress to everyone at the table, including people that haven't been here before, if you need them, use them.
Yeah, absolutely. They're anonymous for a reason. You know, even the X card, like, I have to call a stop, and I have to be like, okay, what's wrong? But if you need to, like, DM me, or DM somebody else and have them speak for you, that's fine. Like, at no point are these a source of judgment, ridicule, or opinion in any way. And also, like, that's another thing, like...
I'm gonna say right now, I volunteer to be a mouthpiece for other people.
Yeah. I mean, same. And, like, another thing is, like, what happens in character is in character. What happens out of character is out of character. Like, yeah, it can bother you, and people can go too far, and I understand that. I try to keep that to a minimum on my table, and for the most part, if one PC has a problem with another PC player character, like, don't have beef outside the table. And if you have beef outside the table, but you're both at my table, don't bring it here. Like, we got shit to do. We got demons to kill. And also, on top of that, excuse me, I was going to say something else and I forgot what it was. Oh, one of the things that I've noticed my DA players struggle with a little bit is just because an NPC says a thing is scary and you shouldn't approach it, doesn't mean you shouldn't approach it necessarily.
Yeah, like...
If I, the GM, I'm like, are you sure you want to do that? That's one thing. But if the barkeeper's like, are you sure you want to do that? That's a different thing entirely.
Because the barkeep has 10 HP.
Unless he's Durnan. Old man Durnan. What were you going to say, Squeaky? You keep buzzing in.
Squeaky?
I hear your mic pop and your thing light up and then nothing happens. By the way, we will have an overlay with character stats, character art, a Discord overlay so you can see who's talking, all that good stuff for the actual show, but it's not ready tonight. So that's why we're kind of bare bones in it right now.
I want to double check that other people are here.
Yeah, same.
Yep.
If you guys got anything to say, speak up. This is the time for Q&A, ironing things out. This is the time for, like, making sure we're all here to tell the same story, because that's the most important thing.
So we're all here to kill demons, right?
Devils, but yeah. No,
I mean,
Squeaky,
yes.
that won't hurt anything.
Except devils.
Actually, you might kill both. So some people might be asking, like, what makes this different from most Descent into Avernus games? And the response to that is simple. We're playing Doom. These people are a military unit designed to hunt fiends.
I fully expect there to be many rip and tear moments.
Oh, yeah.
I also am hoping, like, as the person who's playing the character that I am, I know some details about a certain ancient civilization of dwarves that maybe we'll see. I don't know.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, hi, Squeaky.
Yes.
Hello. Oh, I was just going to offer my educated guess on the instant replay card. To me, it seems like it was doing the same function that you were referring to earlier about going back and checking the rules on a certain thing. I think that's just there for games that might not already be inclined to do that.
Gotcha. Okay. I think you're right.
Yeah, probably. I think there's a lot of elements that we could draw on to make this the most interesting it could possibly be.
Agreed. Like, I have no intention of getting you guys into the module, which starts in Baldur's Gate, until, like, session 5 at least, if not more. Because I want to give you guys time to get a feel for your characters and a feel for Valkyrie Squad as a unit, and potentially change some things up before the module begins. And then I'm going to be changing the module heavily anyway. But like most people, it's like
The
resign.
module is just guidelines.
The module is more what you call guidelines and actual rules, but most of the time in the module, it's like it's time to go to the module goes to hell. If that wasn't obvious, it's time to go to hell, and the players are like reluctant at best, or like, oh geez, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. But Valkyrie Squad, the response is very simply "oorah!" Like that's an important
It's go
distinction.
time.
Yeah, like these guys are fiend hunters. That's their thing.
That's one of the refreshing things about this setup compared to other games or campaigns, is that we don't have to figure out how the group fits together exactly or what we're going to be doing. That's already established
That was part
to
of
a point.
that was part of character creation.
Yep. And as always, in these Section Zeros and to my players primarily, I make you 3 promises. First, I will never lock you in a room and fill that room with water if I don't give you the opportunity to get the key beforehand. Whether or not you find the key is on you, but I'm not that guy. Promise number 2, death is the least interesting thing I can do to your character. If you get fucked by dice rolls, but you really like the character and you want to make something work, I'll let you do it. Third, you can do whatever you want as long as you can check off every checklist item that would be required for you to do that. If you want to juggle tomatoes in front of the king's court, you need the ability to juggle or attempt to juggle tomatoes, a king's court, and access to it. Like, that's it. Like, if you want to do crazy ass stuff, there's going to be dice rolls involved. They might be hard, but if you've got all the variables to attempt the thing, you can certainly try. I always make those 3 promises to my players, and for the most part, Nightfall, I like to think that I do it pretty well.
You absolutely do.
Cookie, haven't heard from you in a
Exhibit
minute.
number 1.
Hi, it's me.
What'd you say, Squeaky? Sorry?
Exhibit number 1. Kenku with a mech.
I mean, yeah. I haven't heard from you in a minute, Cookie. What's on your mind?
Oh, nothing really. Just kind of listening.
Fair enough, fair enough. So...
I have one more thing to say.
Okay.
This is just kind of an interesting point. So in the eventuality that one of us does die, we have a slight problem.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna be in hell.
Not for a while.
I mean, once we get there, then we're gonna have to deal with that issue.
Yes.
That is a fair point. There is the counter argument of teleportation magic is a thing.
There is also the counter argument of don't fucking die.
Yeah.
That is true.
There's also the main point of, sincerely, and forgive me, there's like a week between sessions. If you're not able to create your character in that time,
It's not fair. That's not fair to the newbies.
no, I was gonna say, you probably. All right, rewording.
Just ask me to do it. I'll make your character in 30 minutes.
It'll
GPS
be easier-
rewording.
It'll be easier to figure out how you get there than, make the character.
I agree with that. But at the same time, like, there's ways around it.
Always.
One of my personal favorites is crashed malfunctioning Nautiloid.
I'm sorry, a what?
Don't worry, you'll see it in Vom.
Yeah, actually.
Yes.
Are you scared yet, Nightfall?
See, I know what that is because I am a gigantic nerd, as they call it.
Yes.
I am full of concern for Voices of the Mountain now.
Good.
Don't worry about it.
So yeah, now we come to the part of the stream where, like, I can't reveal any of my, like, specific story beats, but if you guys have any questions about my GMing style, this game, the story, your characters, D&D in general, Patreon, like, any questions you guys have or any questions you think somebody else might have, because I usually open this up to chat, like, go ahead and hit me up.
Let's do the equivalent of opening up to chat and just address the Patreon people.
Yeah, okay.
Like, let's like, we could go over what they get for the different Patreon things if they're already
No,
at this
we're not
point.
here to talk about Patreon. We're here to talk about Hell to Pay.
Okay, that's fine.
But if you have any questions about like this, and if you have questions or you think somebody else might have a question, field it. Let's talk. Let's start a discussion. I tried to cover the main bases, but I'm sure you guys are curious about like my story, for example.
Yeah, I'm curious. Are we gonna see any returning characters from other stuff?
Almost certainly. The leader of Baldur's Gate is one Oscar Brickholderheck.
What's he known for?
He is currently played by Journeyman Vader in Crown of Fangs. There is a chance you'll interact with the Nightlights. There is a chance you might meet some NPCs here or there. I know a certain... oh no, that would be too far south. I'll just say a certain pair of snow elves might be passing through, but you're further south than Waterdeep, so they wouldn't. That's my bad. But yeah, there's a bunch of people you might meet. Or at the very least reference.
So your games are connected.
They are. It's more fun that way.
Interesting.
You were going to say something, Cookie?
No, I'm just adjusting and the mic's picking it up.
No worries. So here's something that might generate a discussion for you guys. You're going to be starting... episode 1 is going to be starting with the Valkyries being deployed on a mission. And we'll go over this again during the first episode, but I just want to take you guys over to a map real quick, so you guys can see your home turf. You guys are going to be dispatched a couple days outside of El Toril, out in the Fields of the Dead. Probably about this far out. About 100 miles, inland. Or I guess towards the coast. A couple days of swift riding out to a farmstead where there's been reports to command to the church, because El Toril is a church-based country, city-state. Theocracy, thank you. That the farmers apparently found like some old elven ruins or something. Like they dug and they found the entrance to some old elven ruins, and like there's a weird energy there. Normally, like scouts would be sent to investigate, but two things of note. The High Overseer really wants this dealt with quickly because the Marshal of the Flaming Fist, one older Raven Guard, is touring the city, like, now. And the other thing is, Valkyrie Squad isn't exactly liked. You guys are really good at your job, but you're also not humanocentric. And so, two birds with one stone, Hellrider Command is like, let's get the Valkyries out of the city so we don't have to look at them, and also go deal with this weird elven ruin report thing and report back. So you guys were told to like go out quickly, deal with it effectively, like complete radio silence during the mission, deal with it before older Raven Guard finds out that something is going on. Thoughts?
The Fields of the Dead sounds like a beautiful place.
It's mostly farmland. That's there was a battle there a long time ago, and people keep digging up dead bodies. It was a source of undead corruption for a while, but luckily El Toril's fake son, the companion, keeps undead from prowling around on the surface too much. But yeah, it's called the Field of the Dead because it's an old battlefield.
Neat.
How long have we as a squad been together?
That's a good question. I don't know. Probably a while. It's up to you. How long?
And how long have the Hell Riders been around as an organization?
Oh, a long time. The Hell Riders can trace their origins to the founding of Elturel, basically, and they were mostly just like the cavalry unit of Elturel until an angel descended from heaven. This is actually how this went, and chose the Hell Riders to be their army. The angel's name was Zariel, and Zariel trained the Hell Riders to go into the first circle of hell, known as Avernus, and fight a bunch of devils who were busy fighting demons in what's called the Blood War, and carving out vast swaths of destruction with said Blood War. Zariel was tired of heaven sitting idle about it, so they gave up their divinity, trained the first Hell Rider, or the main famous Hell Riders, went through a portal to hell. Almost immediately, a bunch of Hell Riders came back and closed the portal, and Zariel's and her riders have not been seen since. But Zariel is kind of a martyr in Elturel, and the Hell Riders kind of swear fealty to her image, basically, because presumably she's dead.
I am back, and I have pork chop, potatoes, and green beans.
Welcome back. We're discussing Zariel and the ride.
Oh dear.
You missed me discussing what your first mission is going to be.
Oh dear. I'll have to catch the VOD on that. Unless you're willing to reiterate for me.
I mean, I'm sure somebody else can.
TLDR, farmers keep digging shit up, and now we gotta go deal with it while older Raven Guard is in town.
I see.
Yep.
Two birds with one stone. They get us out of the city so we're not seen, and we can go deal with these ruins.
Don't munch with your mic open, Nightfall. Come on now.
I'm sorry. And you said Zariel
I did.
was the
Basically the founder of the Hell Riders, if not the patron saint.
Yeah. Is Gamzee here?
I don't believe so.
I don't
Yes,
believe
sir.
so. Oh, there
he
he
is.
is. Hi, Gamzee.
I just got back.
There he is.
Perfect timing.
I guess. Is there any reason not to move to character discussion?
Not at all.
'cause
What,
I
do you,
have-
what do you have in mind?
I have a neat segue. Gamzee,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't your character have some kind of tie to that deific figure?
Yeah. He is a bloodline of Zariel Tiefling.
Mm-hmm.
Which is gonna be really fun. The more I think about what exactly that's gonna mean for actually getting into the nitty gritty.
Yep. Go ahead.
Um,
Like, you guys can talk about whatever you want. I, as the GM, can't.
We're leaving. You want me to open this door?
oh. Oh. Ugh.
All right, I'm back.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
So to say, it's interesting because a detail that I mostly got from Kit for Duncan's background is his mother always told him, never let anyone know that you're a child. You're a child of Zariel. You're
Yeah.
never talk about it. Never make mention of it.
So we established that Elturel, the city-state of Elturel, and the expansionist country that they're trying to become, called Eltulgard, is a theocracy. It's run by High Overseer Thavius Krieg, and the church has a lot of power. And children of Zariel are not uncommon in Elturel. In fact, more common in Elturel than most places. all of you have heard of Children of Zariel. All these depictions of Zariel with her Hell Riders, of like this angelic figure, and Thavius Krieg like promises like Children of Zariel should come like to the church. The families will be taken care of. They'll be given special dispensation. Like they're blessed children of Elturel. And Duncan doesn't look like that. Calendria looks more like a quote child of Zariel than Duncan does. There is excuse me, there is nothing angelic about Duncan.
No. As a matter of fact, I've based some of his looks off of the Zariel we know much better now, because I thought it would be befitting.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, like, and let me be clear, you guys have heard all of this, everything that I said about the Children of Zariel, but the only child of Zariel you've ever met, ever seen, is Duncan.
And even to that end, Duncan was hesitant to mention to the group.
Mm-hmm. So Duncan, being a tiefling, surrounded by all this iconography of Zariel, looking like he does, hiding his face, and his mother being like, ignore the church. Do not go to them and tell them you're a child of Zariel. Like, that stinks of conspiracy.
Who was the first in the group to find out?
More than likely Tordek, because he's the doctor. He's
the
more importantly, he's Duncan's personal doctor.
Yes.
I don't exactly know what, but as far as the Hellriders records concern, they do not read him in as what he actually is, thanks to Tordek.
Correct, sir.
Well, Tordek and Denke.
Tordek and
Denke.
Denke.
Yes, I'm guessing Denke would have been the second to find out.
Yeah, probably.
Thanks to you two, his records show him as something different, so there's no witch hunts within their own walls, so to say.
It's interesting that you use the word witch hunt. It's very interesting that you use the word witch hunt there. Given what we come to know about tieflings?
Right.
Could you spell that out a little bit for me? I'm not getting it.
Well, that's very simple. What are tieflings, Gamsey? Like, by definition?
By definition, technically a form of demon. But
wrong D.
They are
wrong D.
They are wrong D.
They're not a form of demon.
They're half devils.
There is an important distinction.
What is the distinction for the uneducated?
If you called one the other, they would kill you, because demons and devils have been warring forever.
One is from hell, the other is from the abyss. One is chaotically aligned, the other is bound by law.
Mm.
The whole blood war is demons versus devils.
Yep. So try that again, Gamsey, because we kind of got around that.
Okay, so my mistake. They're devils.
Specifically.
So,
like, they're not true devils. Like, you're not quite there.
I don't properly know how to describe it, mostly because this is my first time in general playing a tiefling.
Tieflings are of devils. They can trace their bloodline to devils. Some of them have a tiefling parent, two tiefling parents. Some of them have like a fiendish parent, like more so like a succubus or something. And some of them have like completely normal mortal parents, but they just, somewhere in their bloodline, somebody was messing about with fiendish forces and had progeny that way. It's a recessive gene in some cases. However, and we haven't really talked about Duncan's parents, but the bloodline of Zariel does not work that way in Elturel. In Elturel, you might just be born a bloodline of Zariel Tiefling. And that's an option you can take if you want it.
Now, I don't know, honestly.
Hmm?
Because there's a lot of ways it can be taken, and not all of them I have considered, because not all of them I have thought of. This is more than certainly an interesting way to direct it, but likely decisions to be made later.
Well, I mean, no, we're here to discuss this. Like, let's talk about it.
Okay. So, the couple of directions it can be taken.
Mm-hmm.
One, Dad was Zariel Chikin, and that's why Mom is so on it about don't say it, don't talk about it, don't think about it, don't believe it.
You mean the dad was bloodline of Zariel and went with the church?
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't be conceived then. They're taken as babies.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I see. I guess honestly think about it between I can't really think of any other
I've got
directions.
a dark thought for you.
Hmm?
So let's say, for example, the mother trusted the church at one time.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. She was an official.
Either that, and she found out what was actually happening, or Duncan wasn't her first child.
Well, like, if he has two mortal parents, he could have completely normal siblings and be a bloodline of Zariel Tiefling in Elturel. That's how it works.
Okay.
But a church official is a good idea.
I like that. Someone just sneezed. I guess I do kind of like that. Mom was an official and
knew something was fucky.
Or for a short period was a part of it.
And that would also explain why Duncan's a Hellrider, despite, like, you know, always being in his armor and not revealing that he's a tiefling. Like, straight up, his mom is like a respected state official. Like, Mrs. Reeves is like a big deal. Like, I'll just throw this out, Senator Reeves.
Ooh. That would probably buy him a lot of leeway to get away with the always in armor thing.
It would also not get his records scrutinized if Tordek and Denke are like, he's human.
And I like it.
Yeah, that's a good angle.
It's a really good angle.
Give yourself an extra 800 gold to start with.
Oh God.
My heart. I won't deny. That's the big numbers. They always do my heart.
Anybody else got, like, questions, comments, or thoughts about Duncan?
Well, let's let Duncan go through each party member and say their opinion of them.
Like, Duncan's opinion of the party members?
Yeah.
Okay. Commander, how do you feel about your men?
Maybe as a group and then one at a time.
Yeah, maybe.
So, I guess the best way to go through it is going through my command deck
Okay.
I just said that like I'm a Magic player or something.
Are you not?
Magic is fun, dude.
Yeah.
I don't use a command deck though.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's that 155, homie?
That was the cash I already put in plus what you just said.
No, it's not.
Hmm?
I said
said
800 gold.
Sorry, I'm compressing immediately to platinum
Oh, okay.
for the simplicity of my weight.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, you put brackets around it, and coinage weight doesn't matter. I don't, because there's denomination coins. Like, I think it's stupid that every coin is one. Like, yeah, coins have weight if you're like out in the field and find a hoard of treasure, but like for walking around money, you can get that just like weightless with denomination coins. It's fine.
That just made me lose 3 pounds.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, coin weight is dumb.
Now, for the unknowing, the reason why that's so significant to me is because I don't usually play characters that don't have powerful build. So I'm running at almost near my weight capacity with this character already. So every pound is like a gift from God.
That reminds me, the powerful build checkbox doesn't do anything. You have to actually put in the modifier.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah, which means Salcom and Dawn's inventory capacity is not accurate.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I hand do the math all the time just to be safe. It's easy. It's like base is like for sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. Go for it.
Like for Salcom, for his max carrying capacity, it's 15 times 15 times 5 times 2. That's the max, and then times 2 is how much he can push or pull.
No, you're wrong. Because Diriak's shield doubles it again.
Oh shit! So it is times 4,
4.
and then times 2 is push or pull.
It's actually times 2 squared, but yeah.
Whew. That is a lot. Holy fuck, dude.
Pile of dragon corpses blocking the way to a cave. Sock 'em to the rescue, apparently.
And then you got introduced this past session. Anyway,
Twice.
And
So
we have-
Salcom's carry capacity right now, as a huge creature with the Shield of Diriak and powerful build, he is 15 times his strength score times
what did you know your strength score off the top of your head, don't you?
23.
times 2 to the 8th power.
Okay, so
That is definitely a number.
23 times 15 times 2 times 2 times 2. That's 3, 4.
That's it. 2 to the 4th power. My mistake.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. Big number.
It is stupid.
I possess the powers required to wield Blackstaff Tower as a lance.
I mean, well, like, how many digits does that number have, Nightfall?
Okay, so I need to redo it. Hang on. 15 times
23.
1, 2, 3, 4. It's regular carrying capacity is 5,520,
Yup.
and then multiply by 2 again for push or pull.
Mm-hmm.
11,000 pounds is your push or pull.
That's like 4 tons.
That's 5.5 tons.
5.5
Yeah, that's
tons.
5.5 tons. That's a lot of weight.
You may have a crumb of movement with strength.
You might be able to move the immovable rod.
Nah.
Might. That shit's like a DC 13.
I hate the immovable rod.
I think there are more creative uses for it than people use it for.
No, it's completely useless.
Because Kit rules that it flies off into space or goes
Quote
through
the
the planet.
immovable rod. It remains fixed in space. Planets move, dog.
There.
I feel like Okay, so it either goes through the planet's crust or it flies off into space.
Yeah. Like real
Observe.
fucking quick too.
Observe. This is the almighty spell.
Oh, my
known
hair just
as-
gone.
This is the almighty spell known as spatial rend. What do
Yeah.
you mean? You're just sticking that metal tube into a hole. Watch as I press the button.
That's the joke version of it. The one, the one that actually works. That it says in relation to the planet.
When did they add that? That's gotta be an errata. That's not what that said 10 years ago.
It probably doesn't say that in there, but that's how the actual one should be.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how the real D&D version of it does. You know, the Fox.5.
Yeah.
5 Fox, yeah, that's how the actual one should be.
Thank you.
You know, as they say, kindly eat ass, wizards.
Anyway,
Jeremy Crawford in specifics. Anyway,
that one's not Crawford. That one's Gygax.
oh wow, fuck! I can't get it right. Which one fucked up?
Wow,
If
what a surprise!
if it smells like ham, it's Gygax.
Wow, what a surprise!
I think rending a
if-
planet
if-
in half. This guy smells like ham.
If it's overly simplified, it's Crawford.
Okay.
What a surprise! Something that has to do with space, and it's from Gygax.
You're right. Thank you. Thank you. Gary Gygax, the man who said, "You got Star Trek in my Lord of the Rings." Tasty though.
Oh my god.
I think they already did an episode about that.
They
Yeah.
did, and Worf was
They-
in a leotard, and it was magical.
So, what's your opinion of your squad?
Yeah.
So,
And do you know enough about them yet to articulate that?
like me, no.
Just has the word asshole written and underlined 7 times.
There you go.
No, that's the command reports.
Would it help if you heard more about the characters first and then circle
Agreed.
back?
That's what I was gonna say. It may
Okay.
be better to just circle back to that.
Yeah, totally. So we've talked about Duncan being a tiefling and his mom keeping him out of the church, and he's alive because of it. Hey, Rev. Get your feathered ass over here.
Hi.
Hi.
Excited drill noises.
Why don't we talk about your pit crew?
Yeah. So Rev.
Let's start with Kenku.
Yeah, Rev is a Kenku.
Kenku got obliterated by a god twice.
Yeah. First they got
One god
flightless.
was like "fuck your wings," and another god was like "fuck your tongues."
I
So
thought
they
that was the
can't
same
drop.
motherfucker.
They
Is it the same motherfucker? Man, that guy is petty.
No,
Damn.
that was the same motherfucker because in the actual lore of it, I understand you're likely going to change it. In the actual lore of it, a Kenku made a challenge with a god and said that his people had the power to outdo him in every act.
You know
And-
what? I knew the birds
and-
would be got for their hubris.
And so this motherfucker was like, all right, bet. And every act that they went over, they either used some weird mechanically based thing, a piece of art, etc., yada yada, or their power to fly. And the dude got so fucking mad about the fact that they actually tricked him that he took away their voice, their wings, and their creative spark.
This is what
Now-
I'm talking about, Nightfall. See how this smells of ham?
Yeah, I
This
don't
is-
like the smell of it.
This is Gygaxian bullshit.
And it's not good ham with like pineapple and brown sugar.
You keep your goddamn pineapple to yourself.
I'm with Gamzee on this one. Honey and
Oh,
brown
well.
sugar all the way.
Mm,
I mean, yes, it's all good.
maybe some cherry barbecue though.
Pass. I don't like cherries.
But anyway, it does smell like ham. So my Kenku is the opposite of lost their creative spark.
Yeah, the lobster create like the wings and the tongue. I'm okay with. The lobster creative spark is boring, so I got rid of
Yeah.
that. By the way,
Yeah, that-
which god was that? Because I'd like to kick him in the dick.
Hold on.
Go ahead, Nightfall.
I want to get enough vocabulary as a Kenku to go say, "Hey, go fuck yourself. We're doing this the second time."
Oh my
Ugh.
god, this is beautiful.
How much of ham does it smell?
Did you look up the wiki and it just does Tristan Seargaze?
No. So quote, part of this is this god's name has been forgotten by the peoples and the pantheon. Corlin.
Get fucked.
Corlin was a lesser deity who was the god of the Kenku. No wonder you were forgotten, motherfucker. You took away your people's power to
The god who owned himself.
Oh my god.
He
He
literally took away his followers' power to spread his tail. What?
So it sounds like he got his due. It's all good.
Oh my god, I love this. I need to read more about this idiot.
Anyway, go on, Rev.
So, as I said earlier, Rev is a small Kenku, a tiny Kenku even.
Tiny Kinku.
But he has a lot of. I'm not sure where his aspirations lead him, but he has a lot of creativity and has found a means to get as much material as he possibly wants. To pursue those things, and he can be productive and help people in the same manner. He
What's
is.
your
I believe he
charisma?
is. My charisma isn't actually that bad compared to other stuff. If my thing would open. It's a 14.
Okay, I was going to say, because you say like he's creative and he's like lateral thinking, all this stuff, and like int is good, but like specifically for the arts, like what stat does performance roll with?
It rolls with charisma.
Yeah, that's why I was asking. So if you had like an 8 in charisma, I was gonna be like, boy,
Yeah, I statted this boy up right.
14 is fine. Go on.
And he is formally educated as well.
Okay.
I'm certain there's a school in El Terrell. I'm assuming there is,
Oh
correct?
yeah, there's several. El Terrell is a city-state. Like it's also a country. Like it's big.
But it begets the question, like, how did a Kenku find his way into the military so high up? Well, I think, like, he's a Kenku. So, in order to pursue any education, he needs effectively a translator?
He needs a translator.
And those are expensive.
Yeah.
So I think
What
He's
did he build or do that got the Hellrider's attention? Or for that matter, the church's attention, if you want to go that route.
could it be something I have?
I mean, that depends on what you got. Like, I mean, the church will be harder unless you've got like a cannon that shoots god rays or something.
I might have something for that now that you talking about that.
What?
How does a radiant cannon do?
You built a radiant cannon.
I did.
Oh no!
It cost me 600 gold to make, which is relatively cheap.
Yeah.
To make such a device. He's working on he doesn't have much progress on it yet, but he has aspirations to make converting arcane energy into other types of energy that's usable.
Fun. Might I recommend taking Order of Scribes Wizard as a multi-class?
That is an oh.
Hold on, Nightfall. Are you playing Thomas Edison Kenku?
No, he's playing Nikola Tesla Kenku.
Yes. How dare you?
Good to know. My new character will now be an Aarakocra artificer that steals all their ideas.
He works at the patent office and steals all of Rev's ideas.
Just evil mustache twirling.
His patents keep getting rejected. The poor bird.
Even has a sinister laugh, like, "What will you do about it? Fly up to me?" As he takes off, because Aarakocra can still fly like an asshole.
Indignant drill noises intensifies.
The drill gets louder.
Okay.
He has won shouting matches, by the way, with nothing but sound effects. So
God, I hope someone in your party can translate for you.
Yeah.
I have Rev as a language.
You have Rev as a language.
It's so good. He's the only one that can make an insight roll.
He's a Pokemon trainer, and you're his Pikachu.
Yes.
I'm sorry,
Small
buddy.
enough to fit on their shoulder.
I'm sorry, buddy, but you gotta change the colors on your mech.
Misfire.
On your automaton.
He makes the sound of his own gun misfiring.
No, yes, I know you don't like that, but that's not company colors.
He makes the misfire sound again.
Yeah, no,
Followed by drill noises.
it's not company colors. Red and white, that's company colors. I can't do anything for you here. And realistically, if you keep pushing, I'm gonna push back.
I think he makes the sound of like the drill powering down.
Just out of curiosity, do you have the highest int in the party?
I might. I have a 16. I have a 16.
Okay.
I don't know what the other party members.
16. Those are rookie numbers. You need to bump those up, son.
I do. I plan to with my ASIs.
You tie me.
You also tie me.
Okay, well, it's going to go up with my
Wow, this is a
ASIs.
smart party. You guys are as smart as the champions of the North are uncharismatic.
I don't know about that. We have an Earthier.
Y'all don't have a persuasion check among you. Come on now. No.
Hang the fuck on. That halfling let us in.
That halfling was terrified of your halfling. That halfling was like, "Go away or I shall insult you a second time." And Kilio Wolfwalker was like, "Bitch, I got jumps."
Like, okay, look, you played your base halfling. My halfling has the reach feature. And he doubted that. And that was his own downfall.
But I repeat, y'all don't have a persuasion check among you. But this group, y'all are smart. Damn.
I have a 14.
What, Calendria, what do you have?
A 13.
Yo, you guys are actually really smart.
Yeah, the church provides formal schooling.
Apparently, damn.
I think you're leaning away from your mic. We're getting what you're saying, but it's like
I'm not leaning away from my mic. Like, that's not what's causing it. The phone is about to die, and the stream can hear me just fine.
okay.
Oh no.
Well, as for the formal education, I think it started with him going in debt to get to the military to get the translator?
No, I don't think you went in debt to get to the translator. I think what you did was you exhibitioned the Radiant Cannon at a science fair, and somebody with too many medals on his chest and not enough hair on his head was like, yes, experiment with the bird. And
no.
and then you were initially going to be a lab rat, and then somebody was like, oh, you're actually really smart. Yeah. And now we're here.
And now we're here. He is the lowest rank in the Hell Riders, but that's mostly because he can't get a promotion.
I mean, he should, and Duncan and Calendry are working on it, but, like, human's gonna human.
Humans are gonna human.
And don't worry, let me get this out of the way right now. Like, 99.99% of fantasy racism has no place in my game. The exception is fucking with racists.
That is the plan.
Like,
Humanocentric organization, you say? Well, why don't we just put together an entire party of nothing but non-human races?
I know, right? Like, the last humanocentric organization that I had in my campaign, I quicken spell fireballed the shit out of it.
So Tristan Steergaze, I see you're over here now.
I mean, Tristan's kind of everywhere.
Tristan's gonna be in Baldur's Gate when you get your internet back up, right?
Probably.
But yeah.
Realistically, this group doesn't need Tristan.
No.
I still think it would be good to meet him.
I
Listen,
agree.
Realistically, no group needs Tristan.
I mean,
Listen, I definitely don't want to meet him because Duncan wants to call him an egocentric, overconfident, cocky bastard.
is that before or after they make out?
During.
Now,
Is the
hold on.
Tristan the party once and
That's what you call the James
dessert?
Bond. That's what you call the James Bond scene transition, Cookie.
Now, hold on 1 second there, sir. Duncan is a gentleman. He'll never kiss and tell.
Okay, fair. That's fair.
But yeah, like he's got quite a lot under his belt when it comes to designing new things for the party.
What is he most commended for? Like, if he got the promotions and accolades of a soldier that he was supposed to get, like, what is he most known for? Yeah, like, engineering and stuff, yeah, that's fine, but, like, how does he distinguish himself as a Hell Rider? As a soldier?
Like, despite the obvious communication barrier,
Mm-hmm.
he is, like, yes, Tordek and one other party member, I don't remember who said they had an int of 6, and Denke are on par on the intelligence scale.
Mm-hmm.
Rev actively searches for solutions to problems even before they become evident. Like, he's looking for pieces to put together.
Ingenuity.
Mm-hmm.
He's known for ingenuity. Okay. So, Duncan, what is your opinion of Rev?
Rev is... Okay. Just off the surface layer. Rev is...
Lean up.
Sorry, I turned my mic away because I was taking a drink of Coca-Cola.
Nice.
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor. But, you know, if you guys are interested. Sorry, I had to crack the joke.
That's fine.
Rev is... Well, there's no denying he's smart. He knows what he's doing when he sets off to do something. It's mostly... Sounds like there's a problem pulling him off that thing once he's on his route to do it. So a tentative bit of babysitting is required every now and then.
I can see that. Okay. And Rev, what's your opinion of Duncan?
In the reverse, like, I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, due to the obvious like increased communication between the two of them, Duncan helps Rev voice a lot of things that he can't get out otherwise.
Oh, absolutely.
And he kind of relies on Duncan quite a bit sometimes when he can't get the words, literally.
Mm.
One
But
of
what's
his
your
men at
opinion of
disservice
Duncan
who
as a
didn't help.
commander? Sorry. Go ahead, Gamsey.
I was just saying he'd be doing one of his men a disservice if he didn't help.
True. But what's your opinion of Duncan as a commander, Rev?
As a commander, I mean, I guess I need to ask a question back to Duncan.
Okay.
Because we haven't seen it yet in game at all.
No, we haven't.
What's your command style?
So, trust his team. Right. Everyone has a piece to the puzzle, and every puzzle has to come out through teamwork. He knows where everyone excels, and frankly, he trusts everyone to handle the area that they excel at
With oversight.
with oversight, not micromanagement, not
Can I
overbearing
offer?
presence.
Can I offer?
Yeah.
Steve Rogers.
Yeah. Oh God. So you found yourself in detention.
I think Rev can really get behind that. Because like again, often he may focus on some things more than others. And like he is thankful for his, what's the word, oversight?
Yes.
He's thankful for his
Supervision.
yeah, he's thankful for the supervision, because I'm sure it has saved him multiple times before.
So
He sees him as effective.
What you two are establishing is Duncan, or excuse me, Rev has a tendency to tunnel vision. Which, not to call you out on that, Nightfall, but that would really help you get into character for Rev, because I know you also do that.
I do. I do.
I didn't want to say it. I did not want to say it. But
That sounds like what you two are establishing here. Like Rev is ingenious and looking for solutions, but at the same time, Rev can be like, I can make it work, guys. And Duncan is like, Rev, we're out of time. Move.
Right. Or Rev is working
Duncan is a grounding force.
Yes.
Rev working on the cannon, not realizing that something's gone wrong and is preparing to fire on him.
Or Rev is working on the cannon and he doesn't see the Hellhound coming up behind him.
Right.
Make sure you add that flaw to your character, Nightfall. That Rev has a tendency to tunnel vision.
Okay.
Or Rev is working on the cannon and they need to cross a river.
Yes. Okay, let's move over to the other DA vet. Cookie, tell us more about Tordek.
So, where to begin? Tordek's a dwarf.
Mm-hmm.
Notably, I think in most sense of the time that we've seen dwarves, they've been more mountain dwarves.
Hold-oriented is the word you're looking for.
Yeah, hold-oriented, in mechanic terms, mountain dwarves.
Mm.
With the difference of, good old Brick Holderheck.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Tordek is a bit like Brick. He didn't grow up in a hold. He grew up in the city.
In Eltero, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's been there a while.
He has.
How old is Tordek?
I have not come up with an age yet.
What life stage is Tordek?
I would say early to middle.
So, like 30s-ish?
Yeah.
dwarves come of age in about 30 years. So to be the equivalent of 30s, he would be in his 60s or 70s.
Mm-hmm.
That means you are fully aware of the origins of the fake sun.
Okay.
Almost to the day, the companion is 50 years old at the start of this campaign.
No shit.
And
So you were like 10.
yeah, so you were a baby.
I would have been a wee lad when they started it.
So you know the circumstances. The circumstances are a vampire lord started raising the Field of the Dead in mass and marched on Elturel. And the vampire lord, vampire spawn, vampires like ruled the night. To quote the module, every victory the Hellriders and the infantry got during the day, they lost hard at night. And then all of a sudden, dawn broke one day, and a second sun showed up above Elturel, and burned away all the undead, burned away all the vampires, and just a small-time member of the church by the name of Thavius Krieg took credit for the companion and rose to High Overseer, and has since changed the city. Arguably for the better, though his expansionist tendencies with Eltergard are a little bit concerning. But yeah, you're aware of all of that.
Interesting.
That's information that the rest of us don't have, unless you shared it.
I mean, it's common Elturel history, but
yeah,
Tordek witnessed it.
Yeah.
Achievement unlocked to witness.
Achievement unlocked. Dark as the night.
But yeah. So Tordek is a cleric.
Does he believe in Elturgard? Does he agree with Thavius Krieg that expanding into a nation is wise?
I think he sits mostly in the middle of it, but does definitely lean a bit more towards turning it into the nation.
So he's a believer in Elturgard. Okay.
Yeah.
For that matter, Duncan and Rev, where do you fall on that?
I'm not sure the implications of that.
The implication of that is absorbing a lot of hamlets and townships and getting a flag.
Oh.
The word you're looking for is imperialism.
Duncan is the phrasing I'm going to use to preface this is hesitant. If it is,
well, Duncan grew up in a household that doesn't believe in the church.
Mm-hmm. If it is snagging this land out from underneath the people, then he is full bore against it.
Right.
If
you're not like displacing orc tribes or anything like that, it's people that are like beholden to Elturel anyway. It's just like making it official, but it's still expansionism.
I think Rev is kind of neutral towards it.
Okay.
I don't think they have a super strong opinion either way. Like Rev's telling me like he'll do his part, but that's not super important to him.
Okay. But go on, Tordek.
But yeah, as mentioned earlier, Tordek is a smart boy, and I like to think that's mainly because unlike some clerics who just kind of get their power and like, ooh, yeah, heal stuff. Tordek actually went to medical school.
Oh, so are you part of the Brotherhood?
I don't believe so. I think he studied under the Brotherhood, but never actually joined them.
I mean, if you study under the Brotherhood, then you get the thing that the Doctor has.
What's the thing the Doctor has?
You can use healer's kits to heal people. You get the healer feat, basically.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
But yeah. Also, because with this it can be relevant, I mentioned War Domain. His patron god is Torm.
Torm. Okay. One of
As
the
I
big names of Elturel.
Yeah, I believe there was Torm, Ilmater, and Tyr.
Yes. Torm is the big one,
Yes.
though, I think.
I would believe it.
Whichever one died is the one that Elturel followed a big time for a while.
Yeah.
I think it was Torm.
Eltro has a real big thing about their gods dying, don't they?
Well, Torm came back. He got better. And Zariel's
got
not really a
better.
god. Zariel's more of a saint.
Yeah.
Go on.
And within the squad, saying all this, Tordek is the medic, the healer of the group. Also, interestingly enough, he's the main communications guy.
Okay. Interesting.
He receives the missions or the intel from command, and it also is his job to be sort of a dignitary or a diplomat for the group.
Now, that could mean a lot of things. Or does that mean that you're meeting with, Elrond Half-Elven in his grand hall in Rivendell? Or does that mean that you're helping, the people whose farm got destroyed by the brigands? Or both?
Definitely more meeting with the people
Okay.
that are affected by shit, but I can imagine there have been instances where the former is also true.
So he's the talker of the group.
He is.
Okay.
Tordek is a boy who currently knows 6 languages, but will be adding to that fairly soonish.
Okay, so he's a compassionate fellow then.
Aye.
Interesting. Okay. Dwarves are compassionate, but dwarves tend to be gruff. So seeing that balance will be very interesting. What does Tordek think of Duncan?
Tordek thinks that Duncan is the most rash, reckless leader the Hell Riders have ever had, and couldn't think of a better person to lead him into battle.
What does he think of Rev?
At first, he wasn't sure what to feel about the hyper-intelligent bird in a mech suit, but over time, seeing all of the strength that Rev has brought, he's definitely appreciative that he's here.
Okay. Duncan, what do you think of Tordek?
In a manner of words, Tordek is, in the same way a Goliath would use it, a brother.
Okay.
Not only did Tordek and Denke make it possible for him to be in the Hell Riders, but, well, bluntly, it sounds like Tordek's had very little moments to doubt Duncan and in his plans. And, based on what we've talked about for Duncan, so to say, he's kind of a Captain Kirk with his plans.
Yeah, that's fair.
They seem half-baked until all the pieces are on the board.
Yeah.
And having someone that not only is in constant check on him, because doctor, but someone that doesn't doubt him and is willing to go with these seemingly half-baked plans, it's a borderline familial feeling.
Okay. Rev, what do you think of Tordek?
I'm not sure. Rev isn't one to get hurt a whole lot because they tend to be protected all the time, so it's not like...
Just because you don't get hurt a lot doesn't mean that you're not aware of what Tordek does.
That is fair. I think...
Your mech has a window on it, dog.
That is true.
You see Tordek like standing over the crying child when the wild dog is coming in. Like,
I think Tordek's compassion. There's a word to describe what it is in like compassion in the field of battle is something rare.
valor is the word you're looking for.
I was thinking valorous. Like, he is alongside Duncan an example. Something to strive towards.
So, Tordek, same question as Rev. What are you most known for in the Hell Riders? Are you known for your valor?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. What can you give us like spout lore for a second, Cookie? Like, can you give us an example of something Tordek has done that has earned him recognition, like with command, but has also made Hell Riders in general be like, that guy's cool.
I can think of one sort of loosely. I'm not sure what exactly the enemy was.
Okay.
But Tordek was stationed in one of the small hamlets in Eltergard, and had to single-handedly defend the weak and injured from an all-night assault until.
So something got through. Something got through the battle line, and in the dead of night, Tordek, the medic, protected the wounded, and then like in the morning, I'll tell you exactly what it was. Let's go classic, right? Nightfall, you're rubbing the shit out of your mic, homie. Let's go classic with this. It's just straight up zombies, man.
Yeah.
And then in the morning, we see like zombies hanging out of every opening, dead, hanging out of every opening in the infirmary, and Tordek just standing in the middle of the room with his mace in his hand, panting. When like the door flies open and like other Hell Riders come in.
Is that enough for you, lads?
Yo, okay. So definitely take that healer feature that I mentioned, and also Nightfall. Please stop rubbing your mic, friend.
I wasn't trying to rub it. I'm sorry.
And also, take the Brave feature.
Okay.
So let's move on. Calendria, why don't you tell us about Calendria writ large and her story so far?
She does things and stuff. No. Let's see. She's very, very like overly zealous about it.
I apologize. I will return momentarily.
Yeah, she's very overzealous about her dedication to fighting fiends of all kind. Most likely was one of those, maybe celestial-blooded, moral-blooded parentages where they were killed by fiends, and she was saved probably by somebody, maybe even from Elturel.
I was literally about to ask, like, is there a reason, fiends in particular? But you just answered that, so you've got a vendetta against these things. Okay.
Is that something that the rescuers helped fuel, or something that they've maybe tempered?
Probably tempered, so she's not just constantly flying off the handle on, even though, a heresy. Like, she's not some kind of crazed inquisitor, but she holds that deep hatred for fiends.
I'm getting Sally Whitemane vibes.
Yeah, like, only less. The light totally talks to me.
Sally
Whitemane
in South Shore, not Sally Whitemane in Stratholme.
Yeah.
Yeah. Classic WoW players unite. Oh god, my internet is dying for reals. I hope it doesn't kick me off Discord completely. Anyway.
Connection seems to be holding.
Well, yeah, because I'm on 4G for you guys and I'm recording locally. It's just if it kicks me off, like basically the only thing we have to worry about is if it kicks me off Discord completely.
Gotcha.
Anyway. So Calendria is like a zealot. A zealot in favor of what? Or just against fiends?
Against like full-blooded fiends, because because of her half celestial heritage, she's actually very surprisingly understanding of like tieflings and stuff.
Interesting. Okay.
Because
Going back to the fantasy racism thing.
Yeah, because not every tiefling is just you had a fiend mom and a regular dad. Maybe it was some pact your bloodline made 10 generations ago that one of yours would serve, and you unfortunately got picked.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, so she's just against fiends. Where do undead fall in that? How does she feel about undead?
Probably the same kind of like, to her it's not right.
Okay.
Like being brought back from the dead is one thing because you are fully there, mind, body, soul, but like an undead has no control for most of them. Like sentient undead, she's super wary of, like vampires, because she's like, you have all this dark stuff and you're just using it usually to hurt people. But like zombies and that kind of stuff, it's almost pity. Like she feels like she has to put them out of their misery.
Interesting. Okay.
So it's kind of like, if you've got a mind, it's what you do with it that matters.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got a will, it's what you do with it that matters.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
So how does she feel about Eltogard? How does she feel about Thavius Krieg's expansionist tendencies, given that the further I'm gonna struggle with this the entire campaign. The further Eltogard expands, the better it is. The easier it is to protect the outlying hamlets from undead, which is a big problem around Elturel, frankly.
Yeah.
How does she feel about it?
I think it's definitely this mixing of like she's not a fan of expansion and like all that imperialism and we have to take all the, but she's like, it's what can you do with all the undead and all this other stuff that they're constantly worrying about and fighting.
Like Thavius Krieg seems to genuinely care about Elturel. He believes in Eltogard. He doesn't believe in Eltogard to get more power for himself. He seems to, like, in any of your interactions with him and all of his public stuff, he seems to genuinely do it to like help people. Like he prioritizes places with more undead over places that are resource rich, for example.
Yeah. It's probably why she's still very, devoted and devout to that stuff, even if she doesn't like where, because she's like, it's being reined in. It's not wildly expanding to like take over the landscape.
What does Calendria study? Like, is Calendria involved in politics? Like, the way you're talking about, like, being against fiends and wanting to help people, like, given what Elturel and Eltogard is Calendria involved in politics?
Honestly, she's probably dabbled.
Okay.
But being a 6.5 foot tall Azamar is very hard to get into office.
It's very easy. You're in a holy city and you're an Azamar. What?
Well, yeah, but she's not. Not no halos, and she doesn't.
Oh, okay, then like help me out. What differentiates the way she looks from a typical Azamar? I assume, like, no halo, fine, but I assume she still was like, she looked like an Azamar. She looked like an angelic being.
Like she still has all those, very very ethereal beauty things, but there are marks because her bloodline for her Azamar is the Scourge Azamar, and anytime they unleash that holy power inside of them, they start to burn things with holy fire, including themselves.
Interesting. So she's fallen?
It's basically you have so much light in you that it's like a detriment almost.
Oh, interesting.
You're the equivalent of the
She's
with, like-
she's there's a mutant. There's an X-Men Marvel Comics mutant that like she can like immolate herself and cause a big explosion, but that's all she can do. She can't like mitigate it. What is her name?
That was actually a.
Your
some of that-
bloodline is
Some of that was lost. Some of that was lost to me. You're talking about the guy whose mutation.
No, it's a girl.
Was,
It's a girl.
that basically their mutation is they're a bomb,
Yes, it's not Boom Boom. Before you say it,
right?
it's not Boom Boom. Boom Boom can control it. I'm talking about
Right.
the one that could just go nuclear and cause a big explosion, and that was it.
Because I remember reading a comic where there was this guy. I know, stay with me. Who he found out he was a mutant. They found out he had a mutant gene.
Yeah.
So, and he was all excited about this. His parents took him to the mansion, and after some tests, Beast came back and was like, "I'm sorry, but your son is basically a bomb waiting to happen. He can activate it whenever he wants, and it seems there's no risk of it going rogue, but that's all he is." And the story goes on through this whole thing of like, this is his life, yada yada. Professor Xavier is killed, and
Yep.
like the entire world starts falling into ruin because of this. And by the time he's an adult and he's just like going over all of his stuff, the guy that killed Xavier, who was another student that hated him, invites him to a party. He goes and decides to go nuclear, and because he waited so long, it literally resets time.
What is that mutant's name? It's not Fission. Is it Fuse? The point is, I feel like that's Calendria. Calendria prefers field work because she could hurt people. Is that right?
Yeah, it's basically like no matter how much she wants to help in the city, she knows that she's basically a danger if she has to go all out in the city.
Interesting. Can she control it?
Not once it's activated. Like it lasts for a full minute.
Interesting. So she's kind of a control freak.
A bit, but it's mostly because she has to be.
Exactly. Speaking as somebody who is a control freak out of necessity, I get that, but like that's interesting. So she doesn't like crowds then, and she's slow to volunteer to help Tordek, is what I'm hearing.
She also probably has a low opinion of Rev.
Why?
The slight tunnel visioning and unpredictability.
That's not what I'm referring to, but probably. I'm saying, like, because of what happened, she probably doesn't like crowds, and she doesn't like seeing people hurt from the sounds of things, so she's probably adverse to helping Tordek unless she has to.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Is that right, Frost?
I don't know. See, she prefers like this kind of stuff because there's less people and it's a more tight knit group, so she doesn't
Right.
feel like.
I didn't mean that. I'm sorry.
They're aware of her powers, so
Right.
what happens, they're not going to judge her for it. She was probably one of the people that, like, when they started making this military unit of all the, like, quote-unquote,
Trouble
misfits,
cases.
she literally volunteered for it.
Okay. Interesting. She probably doesn't like seeing people in pain.
No.
All this talk about this power and being a scourge and not liking seeing people in pain, I'm curious, did she hurt someone she shouldn't have?
Most likely, like a mentor or somebody she was trying to train under when she didn't have control of all that, like, magic and power.
Can I offer?
Mm-hmm.
What if she caused a major fire?
Could have done that, especially in, like,
Eltero.
like a...
Hmm?
some kind of enclosed building where once it happened, everything would just catch on fire from radiant fire.
Okay. So yeah, again, doesn't like crowds, prefers the battle, and being a zealot, like, I can use my power. Does it? Here's a question: would you be okay with it building up over time and being harder to control?
Yeah, that'd actually be really interesting.
Yeah, totally. Let's do that then, and that's why she prefers to like get into battle and like burn it off.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it never builds up too much.
What's your opinion of Duncan?
Is oddly intrigued by his never taking off his armor.
Okay. I mean, he's a tiefling. Duncan has said everyone in Valkyrie Squad knows he's a tiefling.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But I think she's also super understanding, like, he can't take it off because people would be...
Oh, yeah.
So some people would be very upset.
The majority. But what do you think of his command style?
It's probably partially why she joined, too. Like, if she was going to join a unit, it was somebody that she could, probably observed that kind of, like, the commanding that went on with something. Maybe she was with other people when he was leading others and was like, that's the guy I want to follow. Not these boring by the numbers guys that don't do anything other than yes sir, no sir, and never do anything else with their lives.
What's her opinion of Tordek? From what you've described, I can see it in two ways. I can see it as like very high esteem and respect, or envy.
Probably a good 50-50.
Okay.
Because she incredibly respects, but she's also super upset that he's aware of everything, like what the other son is and all this, and she doesn't know.
Yeah. I was thinking more along the lines of like Tordek can be around people. People are relieved to see Tordek. Tordek makes people better, and you hurt people. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. I can hear the argument now. At least you don't burn everything you touch.
Yeah, right. Like a little bit less the bomb guy, a little bit more rogue at that point.
Yeah.
I'm into it. Tordek, what's your opinion of Kalendra?
She's interesting.
That's
what we're calling it these days.
That's the best you got.
At the moment, yes.
Okay. Rev, what's your opinion of Kalendra?
My opinion of Kalendria is I've got to really think this one through.
Mm-hmm.
There is a bit of unpredictability with what she can do, but also her as a person I need to consider as well.
Mm-hmm. While you're thinking, Duncan, what's your opinion of Calendria?
Oh, I wasn't here for the full description, but it sounds like, well, to put it bluntly, it sounds like someone that he's sympathetic with.
Mm.
He understands because, like we've gone over, he's a child of Zariel, but he's also a tiefling.
Mm-hmm.
And if that became known to the people of Estral, and even
Elturel.
Elturel, sorry, to Elturel, and even a handful of people believed it, you don't know what that could cause. And he gets it, and he tries he tries to keep an eye on them, so to say, because if it builds and becomes hard to use, it's likely he tries to make her the front runner on certain situations,
Mm-hmm.
just so they can't lose track of it.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's like a whole group of undead sent in the Azamar.
I mean,
So
it
that
would
she
work.
because it's like, yeah, it's a 10 by 10 foot, or 10 by 10 area of just explosive radiant damage.
I think Rev has the opinion. I don't know how often Calendria interacts with Rev, but I don't feel like it's like we're allies, we're partners in battle, but I don't think their free time overlaps too much. Like aside from like meal times and talking around a campfire, like what like let me ask you a question to further this.
Mm-hmm.
Um I said something about how Calendria might view the bird. How do you think Calendria might view the bird?
Me?
No, Joe.
She probably thinks it's very adorable given how big she is compared to that. Like they're incredibly intelligent, but they're so small. They have to be protected.
I thought it was from see, I didn't have that insight before I made this. My thought process was like to Kalindra, the bird is just kind of there, but that makes it sound like there's a tension on the bird. I guess the question is, does Kalindria make it known, or is it just like observant from afar? I guess. I don't know.
She's probably made it known at least twice.
I think there's a cheerful disposition towards Kalindria.
Okay. I wonder if after a few pints, Calendria just starts carrying an indignant Rev around like a teddy bear.
Oh my god.
Look at the baby.
So it's an interesting dynamic too, because what I'm hearing is that Calendria doesn't particularly like volatility, and Rev is all about making new and different things that
Yeah.
we don't know how volatile they might be.
It's also probably that internal having to struggle so much with
Maybe.
her own. She's
Ooh, I had a
constantly
thought.
she's constantly close to him because she's like, I know what happens when shit explodes,
Yeah,
and
right. Let Joe
they
finish,
might
Nigel.
they might need somebody there when it happens. That like I understand volatility, unfortunately, way too well for my own good.
What if Rev is like when he has the time and the supplies, maybe trying to help figure out a way to help control it.
That would be cool. Like a battery.
Yeah,
Making like a sword that constantly draws the energy out and can focus.
or a literal battery.
Or well, yeah.
Just like a way to power the mech.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say maybe that's how she
Yeah.
normally when they're like not on duty, and they're
That-
keeping the mech going. She's constantly draining it into it to power.
I mean,
it.
like like the radiant cannon like would use that power, but I feel like the radiant cannon isn't enough to draw all of that.
No, but a battery would be, and then you could use that to power other devices.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's switch over to our last member present, Denke. Why don't you tell us about yourself?
Well, Denke is a half elf who also has grown up in Elturel. I'm not sure if he's quite as old. He's probably in the same life stage as Tordek, so like 40 to 50 in like half elf years would be about
Okay.
that stage, I think, if I'm getting it correctly.
Sort of. Half elves live a long time, but they mature quickly.
Yes.
So if you want to push that up, you would technically be further along in your life stage when the vampires attacked, but you could have been alive for it.
Dwarves are slow. Humans are a bit faster.
Humans are a lot
Elves.
faster.
Yeah.
And
Hmm?
they're all arounder in many regards. They like to trying to think of a good way of putting it. As they grew up, they set their hands and their minds to many different things. I think they wound up doing like apprenticeships, studying different places, kind of built on, hey, I learned how to do this. Now I can help. Now I can go learn something else, but I can bring these experiences with me and improve what's going on with this other place. So they might have, been with various professions for a while, and then studied a little bit in the various schools, studied a little magic. But their interests are so varied that they don't stick with things long enough to master them, not necessarily because they can't, but because they're just interested in so many other things, that they want to be able to bring as much to the table as they can, while not outshining other people who've dedicated themselves so much to particular studies or crafts.
So what do they specialize in?
They specialize in analysis, both like literal objects, writing messages, but also behaviors, culture, history, just being able to draw on all of that information and skills to put pieces together, to make connections that they and others, and especially the squad and the Hell Riders, can use to make better decisions and make effective action plans.
Okay.
Oh, and also, I guess I forgot to mention, they provide support as the morale officer, as the cook, and I think that's actually one thing that's carried over through most of their experience, is that they like to cook no matter what they're doing, because it's one of the universal languages. Everyone appreciates food, and that's one of the best ways to get people to come together when nothing else will bring them together.
What you're telling me is a collection of ideas. What sets them apart as a person? Hello?
Uh, set themselves set themselves apart as a person. I think being willing to offer the assistance that's needed to a person, regardless of what they have to do to provide that assistance. They're willing to get their hands dirty. They're willing to,
So loyalty.
yeah.
Okay.
That's one way of putting it.
What? How do they distinguish themselves in the Hell Riders?
I think by providing key information to solidify the plans, make them a lot less how did Gamzee put it, slapped together.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm trying to think of some specific examples.
So they're a
that might
tactician.
help. Yes.
I expect you to have the most
providing.
killing blows in the party
Oh my.
if you're going to be a tactician.
Well, that is certainly something they're training to do.
Okay. There's a feature I want you to add, and Joe, I'm going to circle back and I'm going to give you a feature too. There's a feature I want you to add.
Okay.
It's called Savage Attacks. If you roll a critical, roll one of the dice of your critical again per damage type.
That sounds highly effective.
It is very effective. And Joe, or Frost, excuse me, thinking about it, Scourge, Zealot. I already gave Tordek the Brave feature, so I don't want to double that up. You want the tough feat?
Sure.
Take the tough feat.
Interesting.
Ow. So then, circling back, Denke, what do you think of Duncan?
I think that Duncan's drive and impulse is admirable, and I think that's one of the things that helped him feel a part of Valkyrie Squad is having that direction for his sometimes otherwise scattered interests and attentions. And I think he feels that he makes good decisions when he has the pieces together, as Gamzee put it. And so he feels confident that if he provides those pieces and information about those pieces, that Duncan can put that information to good use and make a good plan.
Okay. What do you think of Tordek?
Tordek, I think he really appreciates Tordek's trying to think of the right word for it.
Compassion? I'm not sure where you're going.
Well, no, his attention toward the people that are most in need.
Altruism.
Yeah, and prioritizing the people who need help the most. I think that's something that he bonds with Tordek over, and I think he sort of felt the same way as he was learning his skills and studying, is that he felt a bond with the people who were he was helping or who were helping him, and so he kind of bonds with Tordek in that regard.
Okay. What do you think of Rev?
Rev,
Is a talking bird.
yes, he is that. I think he can also identify with Rev's interest in different things,
Mm-hmm.
and I think he's willing to help nurture that interest when he can, because he knows enough about at least the tools that Rev is learning using, and he feels he might be able to learn some things from Rev's process that he might be able to apply.
And Calendria.
Calendria, I think I had something and I lost it. Give me a moment.
While you're thinking,
Yes?
I think I know Rev's opinion of Calendria.
Okay.
May
Opinion
I
of
ask?
Calendria.
Not Curlin. How did you say your name? It started with a D.
Denke.
Denke. My bad. Calendria was the last name said, and my brain went to that. I apologize. Denke, what's your strength score? What's your strength score?
Well, I flipped that around. It's 14 now. I'm very vulnerable. I'm only an 8 Constitution.
Okay, so what's Rev's opinion of Denke? They really appreciate someone who can lift the heavy things that they can't, and you're willing to help them and learn what he's doing. He's got a real high opinion of anybody who's got curiosity of what he's got going on.
That's fair. Like, curiosity in general, I think Rev values.
Absolutely.
Okay. Calendria, what do you think of Denke?
Probably has about the same kind of, thinks very highly of them the same way she does everybody else for each of their unique traits, because like I said, she's the one that willingly volunteered for the quote unquote unique squad.
Again, these characters will solidify as we play. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
Tordek, what's your opinion of Denke?
Tordek definitely appreciates the minor amount of spiritual healing that Denke can do with food.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely admires that.
Spiritual healing with food. I think we call that soul food around here.
I mean, his food does actual healing, but we'll get to that later.
Oh.
Yeah. The chef feed is powerful with me. Duncan, what's your opinion of Denke? Lean up.
Though, as someone that jumped around through a few different companies before sticking with the
Valkyries,
it's another situation of he gets it and he wants to, there's not a single moment that he won't try to support Denke. More so than just because that Denke we already decided, played a clear part in helping him, join
plays
the
actively.
Hell Rider.
Plays present tense.
The plays, but I was referring more to the
Right, that's ongoing.
I was gonna say that's a full-time job. It sounds like.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, fair enough. And there's a certain there's something that can be said about knowing it all and not
Nightfall.
really. I guess not. I guess that's the wrong way of wording it. There's something to be said about being a jack of all and an ace of none, and what that can do to someone.
Yeah.
And I think he wants Denke to find that ace.
Okay. So circling back, Denke, what do you think of Calendria?
I remember the thought I had earlier.
Mhm.
I think he strongly appreciates the situation that Calendria is in because it's the reverse of what most people, including him, experience. Where he's had to work to build up and gain his expertise and his skills. She got all of this power and had to figure out how to deal with it and how not to lose control of it and kind of like tone it down and fit in with things. And um, I think he believes that might take more skill and dedication than what most people have to
Dedication is a
do.
good word for Calendria.
And so he really admires that dedication and wants to be able to support the efforts to kind of just do little things to make things easier.
And my
It
last
sounds
question.
like. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
It sounds like Denke really appreciates differing perspectives.
Yes. Which is good for an analyst. My last question to you, Denke, is what do you think of the Eltolgard expansion? Nightfall. You are rubbing the shit out of your mic, homie.
I'm not touching the mic at all.
What were you doing right before I said Nightfall?
I sat up a bit more straight.
Okay, that is loud for whatever reason.
I apologize. Is my noise cancellation doing its thing?
Go ahead, Squeaky.
I think as far as the Eltagard expansion goes, I think he's very wary, not necessarily of the motivations of the head chancellor. I think I forget the exact title, but I think he's concerned about the implementation. Not in terms of just grabbing everything, whatever he thinks that seems to be going fine, but just concerned of the organization as a whole, the city state as a whole losing touch with the parts and pieces that bring it together, or maybe even coming at odds with each other as things are integrated, and maybe doing more harm than good if it can't all be brought together harmoniously.
So you're on the side against Eltogard.
I'd say yes as a whole.
Interesting.
It's while there's already so much going on and so many external threats to deal with. While yes, it might minimize, lessen them, or make it easier to deal with to an extent, it increases the internal challenges, and I don't think that, or he doesn't think that the city state is nearly as equipped to deal with those as they already are to deal with the outside threats.
Okay. So there's our characters, minus our survivalist tracker, Bathed in Starlight, who will just have to wait for the first episode. Does anybody else have questions, comments, concerns, or topics for this here session 0? Did anything get left unanswered that you feel?
I'm pretty good.
I'm
Certainly a lot to take in.
Yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
I would like to offer the same questions to our what was their rank? The Rogue Ranger when they're here.
Lance Corporal.
Offer the same questions to our Lance Corporal when they're here next time. Because I feel like those are important questions.
Well, next time it's going to be show don't tell time.
Gotcha. So we'll figure that stuff out off
Yes.
the stage.
Absolutely. Because we're going to be jumping right into the story next week if everybody is available to play.
It should be, yeah.
Okay. Well, that's going to be our show then. Welcome, Valkyrie Squad, to the DA universe, and we will be hearing from you soon. Hopefully the overlay will be set up, or at least mostly set up by then. At the very least, get some character art out for you guys. And yeah, as of the recording of this show, it is December 6, 2021. And for our Patreon patrons at the $10 tier or above, episode 1 of Hell to Pay, Dice-Icive Hell to Pay, The Only Thing They Fear Is You, will be in a week, next Monday. So hope to see you there. For now, normally this is where we would do some shout-outs and I would end the show, but you guys have already heard who these people are, and we hope to see you there. So allow me to sign off the best way that I know how, from myself and my keepers, and those joining me on the stage this evening, and moving forward to all of you, the regulars, the followers, the newcomers, and the lurkers. Whether you're just having a seat by the fire or you've got a running tab at the bar, remember, there's always more stories to tell. And hopefully, I'll see you soon for the premiere of Hail Riders and a new chapter. Good night, you guys. Thank you so much for stopping by, and hope to see you again soon.